What's up, my archfiends of chaos? This is your your King of the Night, Vincent Valentine EX Turk, and here with the movie review, Yu-Gi-Oh! Darkside of Dimensions. The first thing I gotta say, this movie saved the anime community. I'm gonna just say that right now. Shonen Jump should thank and praise Darkside of Dimension. That's the first thing. That's the first impression. Second of all, it was really good. The only thing I had drawbacks were that they didn't have very many original, they didn't have very many original duels. You know, like what I'm saying is like the original cards. I mean, besides the Dark Magician and Blue Eyes. I mean, I cut in Dark Magician Girl and Obelisk. Now they did have the original, but it's like it was more focused on the new cards and the new set, which kind of makes sense. I mean, this is actually 10 years after the manga. I gotta say the villain was perfect. Like, you know, Darts used to be my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh villain. Sorry, Darts, you're gonna be bumped down to number 2 because you know, Agami. And this is gonna be a spoiler review, so I'm gonna put that in the title too. So don't come in here with the hey, you enjoy a spoiler. So, because if you do, I'm gonna remove your dumbass comment. Okay. Now, Agami, aka Diva, was a perfect villain. Because he was exactly like Darts, but he took it even further. He took the narrative even further, and actually had good reasons. All his life, he had a harsh, you know, life growing up until Shoddy took him in, which made him understandably hate, you know, hate both the Pharaoh and Bakura. Now, I'd say his hatred's toward Bakura more because Bakura's father tried to take the Millennium Ring, which I gotta say, best backstory ever. Because it explains everything. Because how Shoddy says Bakura killed him. I always thought it was in the ancient past, but it's not. Bakura killed him when he was a human being. You know, creating I forgot what it was called. Something with F, I forgot what it's called, but it's like a new organization to save the world. Of course, Agami took it the wrong way. Later on, he takes Bakura's Millennium Ring, fuses with Zork, and becomes this transform form, you know, Zork figure because Agami's hatred helped it. You know, now I'd say this is the reason I like this movie personally is this is more geared to my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh character of all time, Seto Kaiba. Because if you're into Kaiba, if you're more of a Kaiba fan, this is the movie for you. Because this is actually the movie for you if you're a Kaiba fan because it had more Kaiba. There's more of Kaiba in this. And in fact, I'll be honest, Eric Stewart bombed the role. In fact, this movie was more about Kaiba than it was with Yugi and everybody else. Kaiba wanted to go back and duel the Pharaoh, or a Tim, and he actually didn't call him a Tim, he called him the Pharaoh. Now, there are some respect. He does respect a Tim. In fact, at the end of the movie, it shows how much he said he even had a relationship with a Tim. Now, no homo. Just, you know, Seto Kaiba was like, you know, even though he wanted to beat a Tim, he still is on good terms with the Tim and Yugi at the end of the movie, which just shows he does respect him. At the same time, he wanted to duel him to get his crown back. He even tried to get the excavate the Millennium Puzzle, and even try to get the pieces from Diva and Lil Yugi and Yugi, which he does. And spoiler, but you're gonna love this. A Tim comes back. I don't care what you say. You Nair says, "Oh, he only came back for a little bit. He's back in the afterlife." You know, he's back. He can go into 2 worlds because at the end of the movie, it showed Kaiba actually built in a virtual simulator. It's not even a virtual simulator. It's kind of like a little time machine. Who went back to the ancient past to duel a Tim, and a Tim smiled like, "Okay, I know what this is about. Let's do it." So it was really good. It made, you know, and put some backstory in it, like the whole Bakura's father getting the Millennium Ring, and how Bakura got the evil spirit of the Millennium Ring, and how this all started, which actually was perfect. The only thing about the flaw I have with the villain, Agami and Diva, is I don't know how that it happens. Like if he were to show up, you know, Agami's power Agami's power would be lost. But you know, they didn't explain it. Another thing they didn't explain is that Kaiba slapped the ground. And I guess they had to do this. I mean, you had to impress all kinds of audiences. this is still a shonen, even though this is about a card game. This is even though this is a card game anime, you know, it's still a shonen, so you would have to appease everybody. But the only thing that didn't make sense is Kaiba punched the ground, or in the trailer he punched the ground, but in the movie he slapped the ground and Obelisk came out. The only thing I'm disappointed was it wasn't the original blue Obelisk. It was I guess it was the original artwork, so I guess it's okay, but I mostly like the blue Obelisk better than the black Obelisk. But nonetheless, Obelisk came out of the ground like that, and I was like, what? Now, Slifer was there, but another problem I had to say with this movie that I have to take points off, they had Obelisk and Slifer, but how come they never fit in Raw? I mean, you don't have to have Merrick use Raw because this is way after, but you could have a Tim use Slifer and Raw. You know, somehow he got Raw. I mean, because I think only Slifer and Obelisk got the spotlight for cards. Even Obelisk was the promo you get when you go in the movie, which is still a good card. I have it in my binder right now, and I'm never trading it or giving it away. It's going to stay in that binder for the rest of its life. It's going anywhere that binder goes. I promise you. I promise you, don't even ask for it. You're not getting to it. But nonetheless, I mean, it was more of like an anime movie, so I kind of should expect that it wasn't going to be like anything like the original. They had to appease some weebs. I mean, they had to. But I like this movie personally because, again, this had more Kaiba, and I'm more of a Kaiba fan than I am a Yugi. Both the series and movie. In the movie, Kaiba had the most character development, like, ever. Of course, even at the end of the series, he kind of had the character development, but it was, like, even more. Like, you know, he became friends with Yugi, and in fact, he even suggested to do a tag duel against Agami, which I was thinking, that would never happen. That could never have happened. How is this possible? But it is. I gotta say, Eric Stewart is one of the best. Is like one of the best voice actors out there. You know, I kind of look up to the guy, but that's another point. Let's see. They didn't have Joey duel, but they showed him having a red eyes in that one scene in the cafe they went to. I mean, I would have liked it if he would have dueled Agami. I mean, instead of trying to go fight him, I'd liked it better if he would have dueled Agami. I'd like to see Joey use some new cards, you know. But I guess they must have cut it out. Now, Bakura was traumatized. Poor Bakura, though. I feel for Bakura because, again, Agami, Diva was bringing up the past, and Bakura's trying to forget the past because, let's be honest, Yami Bakura, or should I say Zork, you know, made Bakura do some really fucked up shit. Like, real fucked up shit. As a kid, he murdered Shotty. You know, and that's what caused Agami's... And that's what caused Agami's hatred to... That's what caused Agami's hatred toward Bakura and the Pharaoh. Now, I'm glad Yami comes back multiple times. Yami goes around saving Joey, which I think is really, really good. I really... Dude, I gotta say, yeah. You know, he's saving Joey from that world, and then he comes back finally to finish, I think it was to finish Agami, it was. And then the last scene of Tim is when Kaiba goes back to the past. Like, he actually goes back to the past using Diva's cube thing, whatever it's called. I forgot what it was called. Again, I forgot his power, but, you know... to go to the dimension of ancient Egypt. So if they do Yu-Gi-Oh! TV series, now another problem I gotta say with this movie, and I'm not trying to make this rant because I really like this movie. In fact, this is the only anime movie that I would actually watch in theaters. I mean, because no offense, but the embarrassment of Resurrection of Frieza is still in my head. You know, it was an embarrassment to me at least. But we're not gonna be talking about that. This was actually, I think, you know, the only problem I have is I think they're trying to cram a whole entire Yu-Gi-Oh! Series into one. That's what I got the feeling of, because they dragged some things out for too long. And it just, well, you know, when you drag so many things out too long, if this is what you get, you know... So that's what, you know, that it does take a little bit of points off the movie that they're trying to drag on some stuff. But I like the backstory. The backstory made it actually tied in the original series really, really well, because now I know Bakura's backstory. No one ever went deep into Bakura's backstory. Not even season 5 when it was about Yami Bakura. No one went in like this. And it kept to the manga canon and anime canon at the same time. The only problem is this movie's mostly for people who are hardcore Yu-Gi-Oh fans. If you're not a hardcore Yu-Gi-Oh fan, you probably won't get the jokes or get any of the stuff that's going on in there. You'll more likely not be able to get everything that's in there. So I'm just letting you know right now, it's mostly for that part of the fan base. It's mostly that for Yu-Gi-Oh fan base. I mean, not to say you would enjoy it, but if you haven't watched the original Yu-Gi-Oh series, I don't think you would enjoy this movie as much as I did. This is just strictly a Yu-Gi-Oh film, which that's good. They kept it like that, and I'm glad, because then it appeases us in a way where it's not pandering to one group or another. Like I said, they had to pander to some weebs by making Kaiba slap the ground and get Obelisk. But they didn't push anything. There was no agenda pushing. It was just straight up Yu-Gi-Oh dueling, and Kaiba's character developed, and Bakura's backstory, as well as tying ancient Egypt and everything together, and Shoddy. Shoddy played a huge role. Now Shoddy's a much bigger character than I think now. I treat him more as I treat Shoddy as more of an actual as a more important character than I did in the series now, because now he's not so mysterious. He played a part because he taught Agami everything. Agami misconstrued things, or should I say, a diva misconstrued things. Now, what was awesome is that when Diva tried to make Kaiba disappear, Kaiba had this technology like I don't know how you put it, Tony Stark like technology. So when you try to evaporate him with the dimension thing, it didn't even work. It was like, what was that? Kaiba was like, what the fuck was that? What was that? What, was I supposed to feel something? What? But it was more impactful because Diva really sent innocent civilians to the other dimensions and stuff like that. He was a real villain. I mean, Darts is too, but I say he'd be better than Darts. He actually beats Darts in villainy, and this is a movie villain. I really usually don't like Yu-Gi-Oh movie villains that much. Like, I really didn't care about Paradox or Anubis from the first Yu-Gi-Oh movie as much. Diva I kind of cared about because he had more of a story, and he had character development close to the end. But nonetheless, I give this movie at least a solid 9 out of 10, and that's just to be honest. If they would have never did too much pandering, and if they would have had the original cards like they did in the show, like still use some of their original decks, and if they had Joey duel Agami so I could see what Joey had, I'd give this a solid 10, but I'd give it a 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 because it had Kaiba, and it was a good movie. So tell me in the comments what you think.